So we are Limitless, and we are very, very happy to be here this week. I'm Judith, I'm the CEO of Limitless, and here with me is Camille, the CTO of our company. And in the back there is Ben over there. He's our project manager. And the three of us were here this week working side by side with many of your colleagues. And there's one thing that we have already learned, and that's Rajaton. So we heard that's the Finnish translation of Limitless. So already learned something. I see a lot of new faces in the audience, so I thought it would be good to recap what we actually do. Limitless is a white label micro investment app targeting millennials and licensed to financial institutions. This is the white label version, so that's why you see Limitless and the blue colors. It works in 3 very simple steps. The first one is connecting to your current account, so we see your spendings. Based on your spendings, we calculate a small amount of money that will be moved into your savings or investment account. There it is being either saved or invested in a portfolio of low-cost funds. So this is our app. It's white label, and in the last couple of weeks, we've been working hard to white label it for OP. So we have a number of milestones that we reached. We integrated with the Sandbox and the Molson API. We defined the requirements for the architecture, also the type of data that we would need from OP. We identified the key risks, and also we managed to find some mitigation actions as well. And we have started thinking about the customer validation. So I'm quite happy with the progress that we have made the last couple of weeks. We also have a rollout schedule for the coming quarters and months. So we were thinking also in phases, 3 phases. The first one being creating a white label app using the Molson APIs. It's a standalone app currently, and it's hosted on our AWS servers. In the second phase, we are going to be using the Pivo APIs, and we are going to integrate with the Pivo app and also move to the OP infrastructure. And then later on in 2018, the second half of the year, we will be integrating with the open banking APIs. And then somewhere in 2019, probably the second half of 2019, we will be using the production account payment and wealth APIs from open banking as well. And our aim is by that time to be integrated with the OP mobile app. We created a live app. This will be a video recording, but it's actually a working app that is integrated with the open banking APIs and the Molson APIs. And there are 3 functionalities that I would like to show you. The first one being how you create a goal. We are trying to make our app very personalized. So we encourage our users to set their own goals, also a timeline for themselves. So it's a little bit of a commitment, but also a personalization. So, for example, our user would like to buy a new snowboard worth €1,000, and every time he buys something, a very small percentage of that will be moved towards his goal or her goal. So automatically this happens in the background. We are targeting millennials who have a fluctuating income, and also they are very often under the impression that they don't have room for savings. So this way, by taking a small amount automatically in the background to their savings or investment account, we can make sure that by the end of the month they have some money saved, and eventually they will reach their goals. We are also encouraging our customers to top up their goals, which means that every time they have some extra money left, maybe they didn't go to Starbucks and they saved €5, we encourage them then to immediately put that money into their savings account, so they can also accelerate the speed of reaching their goals. We are also sending them push notifications, as you can see at the bottom of the page. So after certain milestones, reaching certain milestones, the users will see an encouraging message to keep going. And the third functionality, which we are the most proud of, is the wealth part. So as I mentioned, part of the savings can be put into an investment account. What you can see here is we have a couple of onboarding screens where we explain our users what investing is about, the associated risks, and also how it would be working in this app. So if the user likes and would like to continue, what we incorporated here is a MiFID II compliant questionnaire. This is not the final version, of course, so this is something that we would be developing together with OP, so we would need your input for this. But as soon as our user chooses a risk profile, then part of his or her saving will be automatically allocated into this risk profile. As you can see here, we have the letters or font is a little bit small, but we already used real OP funds in the fund allocation. And then when the user set this investment goal, then it will become one of them. So this user has 2 goals for savings and 1 for investments. We are in phase 1, as I mentioned. We have already completed it. The risk assessment, the validation, the Molson integration. We have had many very fruitful meetings this week together with your colleagues. So from risk, PSD to PIVO, IT, validation team. Thank you. The next phase will be about the pilot. We would like to run a pilot with 100 users together with real data. And I cannot agree more with our friend from EarnIt that it's really important to have real data and also to have real-time transactions so we can really show our...
This week, next week, we hope that from OP side we'll have the payment initiation done on the Molson API, and that will be live so we can start initiating payments. When that's done, the app will be ready for a customer rollout in May. So we will be waiting then on getting approval for the 100 users and from risk to complete all of our profile approvals to launch to the 100 users within the OP system, be they within the lab or within target users that we can co-select with OP to meet our target market. Then the next plan is to add wealth. The wealth API is in H2 of 2018, so the second half of 2018, and we see that API and we hope to help OP to implement that API before the open banking payments API. So we will use a joint version of Molson and open banking for wealth to have full functionality within our app by the second half of 2018 in a production environment. And then in 2019, we hope to move the Molson API to the open banking API and have full open banking wealth and accounts and payments within the app in production 2019. A little bit about our experience. So currently in the Molson API, there's an authentication process that uses the internal app. From our experience with other providers, this is just one example. Perhaps we'd like to move that authentication to a dual app authentication to increase security. And we have more solutions like that that are on our list, and we'd like to discuss with OP to help with the implementation of the APIs to be the most secure going forward, to merge our experience with your development team. Architecture, we've outlined a very quick rough architecture for the pilot. This is the architecture of how it works currently in the pilot. So our servers store on the AWS to a Postgres real-time store. This real-time store is multi-AZ, which means it's in 2 different locations, so that if one location fails in Amazon, we have a backup. This is for the real-time transactions. We then move transaction data to an offline store for further analysis, big data crunching, merging with profiles, and helping us complete a profile of our users for the bank so that you can get more information, cross-sell and upsell opportunities to your customers. The application is iOS and Android. Right now in the pilot for the 2 months coming up, we will only focus on iOS to limit the amount of testing and time frame to make the pilot focused on one device, but with more functionality on that device. And the communication channel is our servers will be communicating with the OP bank servers, and this is through the Molson and Molson API currently in the pilot. The next phase of development, our application servers will actually sit inside the OP infrastructure. They will be moved from our AWS to OP infrastructure and will be managed by OP IT staff. This is also when we plan to integrate the app functionality into Pivo, so that it is managed and developed further within OP. And the data stores, the Postgres as well, will move inside OP's infrastructure for better risk and compliance purposes going forward. So the outline, that's the plan for the next level of the infrastructure. It will still be determined with the OP teams as we go through the pilot and move into the production phase.
Yeah, and we talked about the technical experience, but we also have experience with users. So we are currently integrated with a Dutch challenger bank called Bootcamp. We are predominantly B2B, but we decided to have a B2C version of our app because we wanted to have direct connection with our users and we wanted to get their feedback. So we decided to partner up with Bootcamp, who has open APIs already. And we started to do our own organic marketing actions, and we actually got a lot of response, not just from the Netherlands, where we were focusing on our efforts on, but also from all around the world, from the US to Japan. And currently we have the Dutch challenger bank is operating in the EU, so we have customers all across EU.
And if I may add, we're also working with a bank in Poland that has over 2 million customers, and the announcement date will be coming very soon. It's unofficial, so we can't disclose it at this point, but we'll be rolling out an implementation as well, a full production implementation before the end of the year.
So as I mentioned, Bootcamp is the current integration point. We have around 1,000 users currently from 16 different European countries. Most of them fall into our category of millennials. Most of them said, actually almost all of them said that the experience, they like the experience, it makes the savings easy for them, and half of them confirmed that actually they were even surprised to see how much they saved at the end of the month without even realizing it. We have 83% of active monthly users, and the average monthly savings are about €100 per month. We have a very big and very diverse team, or small team, depending on the perspective. Most of us have experience in the financial industry. One of our founders, Kaming, he spent 30 years in the financial industry. In the investment side, Kamil has a very long track record in working with financial institutions and governments, and I myself, I worked for ING in my previous life. And we have our dev team in Poland, and we also we try to be very, very multifunctional, and I think it's been going quite well so far.
And I will admit that in 2 days it'll be officially 20 years experience in development.
For the next steps, we will be working on the detailed maps for phase 2 and 3. And we are going to further develop the architecture and the modules, and very important need and also work from our side as well to get the green light from the compliance. So that's something that is really a key enabler for us. And there is one thing I would like to add. The keyword is collaboration. So we really picture this project as a side-to-side collaboration together with OP. And with that, we have reached the question section. So if you have any questions, please let us know.
Any questions?